Hello, this is Rich Whitehead, Mayor of Helotes, coming to you today in my backyard. We're up here in the hills of Iron Horse Canyon, and today we're taking a little bit of a field trip, and we're out here today with Mr. Fogg from Sauls Seismic. They are a company that does independent readings, seismology, I guess is where it falls under, where they take the readings from blasts, the same type of stuff that you would use and you see on the Discovery Channel, where they check the waves from earthquakes, etc., to see what size of an earthquake happened. The same type of stuff is used in equipment to determine how big of a shock wave happens from blasting. Certainly, as you are well aware, we've had some issues and some complaints from the blasting at Vulcan, and so we're going to talk about that and discuss what we're doing to monitor that situation. Okay, well, this is Mr. Don Fogg, and Mr. Fogg, why don't you go ahead and talk to us a little bit about what you do as far as recording and what your machine here, this little seismology machine, and tell us a little bit about it.
What we do is we install a seismograph to monitor sound and vibration, and we monitor 3 traces on the ground vibration: radial, transverse, and vertical, and then we also monitor an air trace in decibels.
Okay, so we're measuring how the ground shakes both front and back, left and right, and up and down.
Correct.
Now, the total amount of movement that the ground makes, the more the movement, obviously the more potential for damage. And is there a federal organization that sets a standard for how much movement can happen before damage would happen to a house?
Right now we go by the ISEE, International Society of Explosive Engineers.
Okay.
And the U.S. Bureau of Mines did a study, and they created, between the two of them, they created 2 inches per second is where the potential for damage would start.
Okay, so if we get 2 inches per second, that's the limit before we'll start seeing damage occur in houses, correct?
Yeah, that's where the potential starts, yeah.
Okay. So this is the machine, and it's solar powered, and I've seen you've drilled a hole into my ground and set the actual meter down in the ground, correct?
The transducer, yes.
Transducer, and so that picks up all the vibrations. And typically what you would expect, as it's been described to me, if you drop a rock in a pond, you would see the first ripples would be big, and the further you get away, the ripples kind of dissipate, and that would be similar to shock waves, correct?
Correct, similar, yeah.
Okay, so we have shock waves, and then we also have the air movement, which is the shock waves is what rumbles your house, but the air waves is what rattles the windows and the doors, because air pressure also changes when you have a large geological movement. So you have a lot of these around the area, particularly close to Vulcan on this side of 1560, correct?
Yes, we have several units.
Okay, so we measure there, and as you would expect to have larger vibrations there than you would here up in the hills, which is a little further away from the quarry.
The closer to the energy, I would expect.
Okay. So we do have a lot of people here in Helotes that complain about the vibrations and are worried about it affecting their house. And so what we would expect, what we measure over the next month, the vibrations from the blastings, which happen several times per week, and we will see and compare how they compare to the ones closer to the quarry. Now, we would expect the readings to be smaller here than there, but what we want to know is there some sort of geological anomaly that's causing the waves to actually amplify before they dissipate? And that, if they do, well, then we know we've got some sort of weird geological anomaly, and that there might be damage if we're getting larger readings out here. We will certainly get back to you with the readings and what we find over the course of this next month. But for right now, we will determine what we're actually reading here. I would like to mention, though, that 2 inches per second, what we have seen traditionally in all the reports, from my understanding, is that the blasting and the size of the readings are usually in the 0.1 to 0.2, so really 10% of what, 10 to 15% of what is allowable by the federal standards. So we're going to see what happens up here, and we will be in touch with you, let you know what we find out here. But either way, we want to recognize and thank you for your work as a third-party independent monitor of the blasting that goes on here. You're not employed by Vulcan, but you're contracted by them to be able to measure the readings. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that The readings we get up here are consistent and certainly provide more data and transparency and feedback to you.